Hello again, and let's get started on how to manipulate CAD. So when you open up your Moodle page and you have completed this attendance quiz, other modules will open, such as the syllabus and these links and a couple of videos about the history of drafting and, of course, the AutoCAD section. So in these links, residential code. So if you click on that, it will take you to the website where we can look up codes and figure out how big a room size needs, how tall the ceiling needs to be, so forth and so forth. A Builder's Guide to Energy Efficiency in Homes in Georgia is a very nice guide on how to build a better house or how to design a better house. The Journal of Light Construction is a great magazine that's published, and it helps me especially to understand new forms of construction techniques and materials. South Face is a reference of different ways of building better, how to be more energy efficient and structurally sound. If you haven't already, please open and watch these two videos of Drafting Through the Ages, where I take you through, the history of drafting and where we are today. So these two are very informative videos about drafting through the ages. Now, here's AutoCAD. Now, if you haven't already, I've given you instructions on how to download CAD for free. Since you are a student, I make it very clear that when you sign in to this, you should make sure that you use your student ID, your student email address. So you'll click on students, you go down here to access AutoCAD educational plans, get products. And since I am already a member, you will probably need to go ahead and create you will go in here and put in student and go through all of the questions. Again, I am already signed in and I have my own account. So yeah, you'll have to deal with this as well. So this program is very expensive and they don't want the Russians to get a hold of it. So when you get to this point here, that you will have tons of different programs in which you can download. I would not, unless you are, very efficient in one or the other, I would not attempt to go into any of these other programs. What you will need is the AutoCAD or AutoCAD for Mac if you have Mac, if you are a Mac user. Okay, you're going to hear me talk about Revit, but I don't want you to download that and play with that right yet. Only thing you need is AutoCAD or AutoCAD for Mac to get started. Once you click on that and it goes through the install, actually, let me find out what version I have. I have 2023. So I don't know that I want to do this quite yet. 2024 is here. You will probably get that. To download this and install it, it takes quite a bit of time. And at this point, I don't want to freeze up my computer to install this. But I want you to click install and accept this. And again, you can follow these instructions right here to get your free program. Obviously, you see that I have a lot of stuff hidden from you. You're not ready for it. We want to do a lot of basic stuff before we get too much deeper into this. So let's go on over here to the program. Now, you are not going to see a whole bunch of this stuff. Again, I have been drawing for years, and I have tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of drawings that I've done over the years. And so, you need to like again, I will say this will be not be shown on yours. So what we want to do is we want to well, let me stop right. Well, let me go ahead. So let's start with a new drawing. You can click here, or you can click here to start a new file. It will open up the templates. And what I want you to do is I want you to follow right down here to the tutorial I-ARCH. So that means Imperial System Architectural Drawing. This would be a metric system architectural drawing. So double click on that. It'll open up. It always and forever opens up in the layout setting of the drawing. What we're going to do is go to the model. So click down here at this button here to get to the model. And let's talk here about some of the stuff that's going on up here. So a couple of things that, the computer and you need to talk. Obviously, we don't have IA quite yet in our CAD programs. So to interact with the computer, you got to know a couple of things. So when we think about a computer, we have a keyboard, okay, so that we can input messages to the computer so that the computer knows what we want to do. We also have a mouse, okay, so that we can help draw our drawings. And we have the computer monitor so that the computer can send back information so that we can process it. Now, the computer also will talk to us, and that is generally down here in the command bar. So, to get to the command, if the command bar is not here, I will go through and show you how to open that up. But in a sense, anything that I do, you'll see two things, and I'll help you set this up if yours is not on there. It's going to say, hey, you clicked online. Where do you want to first put this point? Okay, so I'm not too particular where to start, so I just start. And then it's going to ask me, well, hey, where you want your next point? And you can actually see that, as I go closer or farther away, it gives me a couple of things here, such as the polar. Okay, it's 13 feet 9 5/8 of an inch, and it is 0 degrees. If I move this, obviously all of these change. Okay, so that is pretty much the computer and the program in a nutshell as to how it communicates with us and we communicate with it. So let's talk about, let's see, I got my little notes here. Went through that. Model, save as. Okay, so a couple of things we want to do is, number one, I want you to come right up here to the top here and save as. All right, you decide where you want to save this. I'm going to save it on my account at the college where I am teaching architectural CAD. So when you name your first drawing, what I would like for you to do is, put your name and Eric blank. Okay, that's all you need to put in there. So each time that you go start a new drawing, you don't have to go to new and go through all this process that I'm going to be going over with you here shortly. So, you can just open up your blank and all of that will be taken care of so that you can start your drawing more efficiently. Notice that we have types of files down here. So over the years, different versions of CAD have come out, and it is, let's say, for instance, I have a contractor who has a very old version of CAD. He's had it around for a while, and it uses the 2004 drawings. So if I were to send him a 2018 drawing, he would not be able to open it. All right, so I would have to, open it. I would have to save it as a 2004 or older for him to be able to open it with. Okay, so for our all intents and purposes, we're going to use the latest, which is 2018. Of course, I haven't looked at 2024 yet, so it may, excuse me, it may have a new format on it. Nevertheless, go ahead and hit save, and you will see up here at the top. Let me get this out of the way. You probably are not going to see this, but there is there's a palette here that opens that gives me a whole bunch of different stuff on this program that I'm using. I'm trying to hide it. Hide video panel. Is that it? No, that's not it. Hide floating media controls. There we go. Okay. All right. So a couple of things that I want you to do is, so we have a bunch of different things up here. Okay. Bunch of different menus. The home menu is going to be the primary menu that you're going to be using while drawing in CAD. So to start with, this is a pain in the butt for me. This is a pain in the butt for me. I think all of you probably know this is X and this is Y. I don't need this to remind me of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to View, and I'm going to turn these two off just by clicking these two boxes. That way it's much cleaner. Now, if your properties window is not opened, then you should click properties here to open that. Let me go ahead and get, well, can I get rid of this? How do I get rid of that? I don't want that. Oh, I know why I can't get rid of it, because I've got it locked. There we go. All right, so this is nice and big, and I can utilize more space in it. So if your files tabs, see this up here, goes away, and the layout tab down here at the bottom, make sure that those two are on. So if you look at this view right here, currently right now, this is all that should be open. We will be working with tool palettes and blocks later, but for right now, let's just keep this as clean as we possibly can. Check my notes again. Okay, so let's say, for instance, that I'm going to draw a couple of things, and I'm just going to pop a couple of things in here just so that you understand, you know, what some of the stuff that I'm talking about. Okay, so when you're working with CAD, you're going to have one hand on the mouse at all times, and you're going to have one hand to manipulate the keyboard. Okay, some of this stuff you can get to by the mouse, but to make you more efficient, generally you should be using both your mouse and your keyboard. Of course, you're going to have to do some typing. You have to let go of the mouse and use both hands at the typing. Okay, so start off. I've clicked. All right, I'm in no command. All right, the command screen is completely and totally empty. All right, if I click on a portion of the drawing and I drag my cursor, notice that I get a blue box. If I go towards the right, okay, up and down, I get a blue, excuse me, I get a blue box. If I click and go to the left, I get a green box. So what does that significantly do? If I go into my drawing here and I click and I pull to the right, I get a blue box. Okay, it highlights what's in the box. Let's do this again. Now I'm going to go a little bit further this time. Notice that it only highlighted what's inside the box. Now let's do this again. And now we're going to move to the left. Okay. Take notice that I am touching the diagonal line with the green box. Okay. Bam. Now, what happened there? So what happened was when you go with the green or pulling to the left, it will highlight everything inside the box as well as anything that it touches. Okay. So if I want to just get that, fine. If I wanted to just get that, fine. I didn't, it didn't take this one into consideration because it was not fully inside the box. All right. So, but if I go green, it gets what's in the box and everything that it touches. Let's talk about nodes. So if you have a single line, you're going to have 3 nodes. You're going to have a length node at the end of each one, and you have a center node. By grabbing the node at the end of the line, I can go anywhere I want to and manipulate this line. Okay. Now, see what I do? I just let go of that. That is the escape button. Your escape button is going to be the most popular button of all. If I hit it again, it's going to de-highlight that line that I have. Okay. So now I've got a node here at the end. I've got a node at the other end, and I've got a node in the center. If I grab the center node, I can move the whole object with it still in the same 22-degree angle that I had before. But notice if I grab the side, it changes that angle, and it also changes the length of it too. So center, and I can drop it wherever I want if I need to. Okay, so in a circle, notice that I have a quadrant node and I have a center node. The quadrant node is much like the side nodes on the line. I can manipulate its size. But if I grab the node in the center, I can move it without changing the size. The box. The box has some different types of nodes. Notice that there's not a center node on that. So I couldn't move the box by just tapping on a node. If I grab a corner node, see what happens? I can change this in any shape or form so that I end up screwing up the box. If I grab this center node, I can stretch it without changing, well, I can change the angle, but notice how it clicks into place there. Boom, boom. All right. So there's ways in order for that to happen. And I'll explain how we keep that straight. All right. So it's not going to do any other but, okay, so I can go to the other side. So see the little green lines? That means it's still, parallel horizontally with the original location of it. Okay. Continuing on, go ahead and erase this. So I've went to the green or pulled to the left, click, highlights everything. 2 things I can do. I can hit the delete button on the keyboard, or I can right click, and you see that there's a lot of things going on here when you have stuff highlighted, and I can hit erase. Okay. So again, I highlight everything and I can hit delete, or I highlight everything and I hit erase. I right click and hit erase. Now you notice that I drew that back really quick. So up here you have the undo. Okay, so that's what I done was I just hit undo. But on your keyboard, you have a series of different commands on your keyboard so that you can do this. And this particular command is Control Z. Let's go back over here to Moodle for just a second. I was thinking that I had done the shortcuts. Yes, right there they are. CAD shortcuts. Now, why do I have that hidden? Let me open that up so you can get to it. Apologize for that. I don't know why I had it closed. And let's see, let's go ahead and open up layer properties. And yes, for right now, that's all you need. Oh, let me go over here and open this up so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so CAD shortcuts. So I've made a list of some of the basic CAD shortcuts that you can use, and really these control commands can work on any computer. I mean, or any program rather. It doesn't have to be just CAD. So you can change things from bold by hitting Control B. You can change things to italic by hitting Control I, copy, Control C, paste, Control V, cut, Control X, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And you can change between programs using the Alt tab. So for instance, I can go right back to the CAD just by hitting Control tab, or excuse me, Alt tab. Okay, so I can just do this all day long just by hitting these two Alt tabs. All right, so for all commands, I put a link here that takes you to the AutoCAD site, and let me tell you, you see how many they are. Oh my God, yeah. So this is really nice. If you want to know your F commands, then this will tell you about your F commands. Also, you have single letter commands. All right, M for move, L for line, C for circle, Q for quick save, and on and on and on. I would probably, if I were you, I would let's see if we can get this. Yeah, I would open this up and print this out. This could be very, very helpful to you as well. Then, of course, you go down here and you start all these, just, I mean, tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of different shortcut commands for CAD. Enter repeats the last command or accepts the command. So let me explain that to you. So I'm going to highlight just the box here, and I'm going to hit delete. Now, if I hit enter again, it goes right back to the same command that I just used before, erase, select objects. So I'll select that object and hit enter. There it's gone. If I hit enter again, it brings up erase. I can click on that and hit enter, and they're all gone. Okay, so enter will accept the command that you give to it. For instance, when we were doing this, highlighted this, erase. Let me go back a couple of them. There we go. So I hit this and erase. That's the first command. I hit enter, it goes right back to the erase command. I click on it, but then I have to hit enter to accept the command. Okay, it's kind of like saying, are you sure you want to erase this? Yes, it is. I do want to erase this. So enter, I have the same command again. Click on the line. Do you really want to do this? Yes, gone. Okay. Escape. The escape command clears out all the commands. So just make sure that, now, like I say, this is probably going to be the single most popular key. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at my keyboard right here, and two keys are absolutely clean: delete and escape. The rest of them are dirty, which means that I don't use them as often as I do delete and escape. Okay, so there's that. Again, you've got a lot of stuff going on up here. We're going to get through all of this, I promise you. So you can go over here and look at insert. A lot of crazy stuff going on over here. Annotate is where you're going to control some of your common functions, such as dimensions and text and leaders. You can define them, change them, etc., etc., etc. Parametric, I have never used in my life, and I've done this for quite many years. View, so I do use some of these so that I can turn on and off some of the other command tabs or windows that are currently being used. Manage is another one that I don't use a great deal. Output, if I want to plot or preview or export, this is where I go. I've never used add-ons. I try not to get too technically corrupt, I guess you could say, in this. So the screen just keeps coming back and coming back and coming back. There we go. I got that fixed. I didn't realize I deleted my face. Not that you'd want it. Collaborate. Again, there's another one that I have not used, but I can share the drawings, obviously, so I can send it to people. Express tools. I was kind of playing around with this last night, just kind of refreshing my memory on some of this stuff. And this is fairly new, this arc aligned. I thought that was pretty cool. So you can draw an arc, and you can have your text in an arc fashion. And then some of these featured apps, a lot of times this is the way that AutoCAD comes in here and tries to advertise new stuff that they've got. So let's go back home. We'll leave this one as it is right now. Let's talk about the properties menu here. It looks like a bunch of garbly goosh, and we're going to get through some of this. But just real quick, let me kind of give you a scenario. Actually, let me just pull this back up there. So if I highlight like the line, it's going to tell me about the line. The line is on layer 0. And the color of it is white on a black background, but it will print black, I promise. The line type scale is 1. I will explain that later. The plot is by layer, so meaning that whatever layer this is on, which you look up here and it's on layer 0, then that is the way that will be printed. It tells you a little bit about how I drew it, the X start, the Y start. Since we are not doing 3-dimensional CAD, there is no Z. So Z would be up and down. So you got X, you got Y, and you got Z up and down. And it tells you the length. So this particular line is 22 feet 7 1/16 long, and it has an angle of 318 degrees. 6 minutes, 4 seconds. Okay. I go to the circle. Looks a little the same here, but down here it's a little bit different. Tells you what the area is, tells you what the circumference, the diameter, and the radius is. Tells you where the center of the circle is, as opposed to where 0 is down here. Remember where we had that little XY thing down here? That's 0, 0. Okay. So it's kind of, this grid thing is, if you remember from math class, everything from the center of the horizontal line and above to the right. Let me just go over here and draw this for you. I'm sorry. It's there. Make this simpler for you instead of. So we've got the vertical line, we've got the horizontal line. So, when we're talking about that little XY thing that we had down there in the corner, remember what I'm talking about? That we erased. Okay. So this is 0, 0. Okay. So let's pretend that this is now this. Okay, so I'm going to erase those other two. So this is 0, 0. If I'm above the horizontal line and to the right of the Y line, and just so you know, it always goes X first and then Y. Okay, X first and then Y. So if we are here, this is going to be a positive X and a positive Y. The further we get away from the center of the circle, the greater the number of X and Y will be. If I am down here below the horizontal line and below the horizontal line and to the right of the vertical, then I'm going to be positive X and negative Y. Over here, I'm going to be negative X and positive Y. And of course here, I'm going to be both in the negative for X and Y. If you want to, you can pause the video and hit print screen on your keyboard, open up the Paint app, and then press Control V. By pressing Control V, what does that do? Do you remember? That will paste this drawing on here, and you can clean this up and save it as a reminder if that's something that you wish to do. Okay, so we've got some stuff going on down here as well. And so let's talk about that. I'm still trying to get your settings set up for you so that you have a good start blank in here. So everything else, if yours does not look like mine, pause the video and look at both of them. Let me know. Okay, I don't remember what pops up here as default. So let me know if it's pretty much the same. Now, stuff from like here over, I just don't even use a whole lot of it. All right, but everything over here pretty much gets used. Okay. Down here also, if things do not appear as they are, like mine, the first thing that you can do is go over here to the hamburger and click on that, and you can pause the video again, and everything that I have checked here, you should have checked. Okay. Anything that I have unchecked, you should uncheck. All right. So this works, all of this down here. So, I'm going to click on the dynamic inputs, and I want you to watch this one here. So, whoops, sorry. Watch this one here. See how it disappears? All right. So this is dynamic inputs is a really nice, really nice thing to have. So you see how I've got the words specify first point, 28 feet, 1 5/16 of an inch on my cursor. Okay. So if I don't have the dynamics on that, this would not show up. You would only have this down here. So this is a better way to communicate. So, I could click, notice that it says 0 degrees. I can do a couple of things. I can come over here and try to get 20 feet exactly. Or, once I click, I can just move to the side 2 feet, and then I can type in 20 feet, and then it's going to go to that. And that particular line is going to be 20 foot long at 0 angle. Okay, pretty cool, huh? So that makes it very much easier to do stuff, so that, when I'm starting a drawing and I know that the building that I'm doing is going to be 65 feet, so I can type in 65 feet, hit enter. I can pull down, and I know that the building is going to be, say, 30 feet. So I type in 30 feet, enter, there it is. And then I can do 65 feet again. And then this time, all I have to do is just pull up here. See the little green thing going on there? What the heck? So I have one here. There's a triangle. It says midpoint right there. Did you see that? Okay, if I click there, it changes to a midpoint. Triangle's midpoint. And then the square is an endpoint. All right, so I can click on that, and then I'm going to escape. So now I know I have a perfect rectangle that is going to be 65 feet long, 30 feet wide. All right. Now, let me talk about those, what I was talking about, these little symbols that's going on here. What the heck is going on there? These are object snaps. Okay, so I could, if I were to try, if I've got the object snaps off, and I've just turned them off by hitting F3. Okay, so I hit F3 and it turned them off. See, it won't come on. If I hit F3 again, notice down here, this is not highlighted. So if I hit it again, now this is highlighted, and I have my, I have my own my object snaps on there. All right, so I'm gonna turn them off, and I need to connect this line here and go over here, and I can't get it to line up. I don't know exactly what's going on here. And then I'm going to try to close it as best I can. But then let's zoom in here. If I've hit this thing, I don't know how in the world I've done this. Come on, really? Oh yeah, good. See, I did. Oh, maybe I did. I bet you I couldn't do it again. All right, it's not perfect. See that? It is not perfect. But if I have the object snap on, it will be perfect. Okay, just so you know. So while we're on this discussion, I'm going to open up this, and I want you to pause the video, and I want you to check everything that I have checked on here. Pretty much everything except tangent and parallel. The nearest is something that I have to turn off from time to time. So, let's say I've clicked on the corner, the endpoint. See how, I'm just there. All right. And I can put that anywhere I want to because it's nearest. All right. Like I say, sometimes I need to turn that off so that I can hit the center point and the end point. If that becomes a problem, just real quickly reach over here, turn it off, and you're ready to go. Okay. The other drop down that we have here are specified angles. Yours is probably going to be checked on 90, 180, and 270. What you need to go down is check 45, 90, 135, 180, so forth. So what that does is when I'm going to a line, when I'm going to draw a line, and I want it to be at 45-degree angle, see how that little that little green line pops up down there. So it's going to stop at 0, 45, 90, 45, 180, so forth and so forth and so forth. Okay, so make sure that this is checked here at 45. And I think that summarizes all of that up for right now. You can these grids, we're going to talk about these grids a little bit later when we start getting into some design work. We can set up a grid. Let me just go ahead and turn it on, and yours may be already on. Okay, so one thing I forgot to say, it may already be on. See this this green and red line here? That right there is 0, 0. Okay, if you turn on the coordinates up here, you can see those coordinates right there. So if I get as close as I possibly can, right there it is, 0, 0, 0. The first set of zeros is X, the middle is Y, and the last is Z. So if I were to start a line, and that's why I don't even turn this stuff on, because I don't need it. It doesn't matter. So you can see that the Z never changes, because we are in a two-dimensional drawing. Like I say, again, you probably when you opened up yours, it probably has this grid on there. You can just click right there and turn it off. This other one is snap mode, and you have to set up the snap mode. So you can go in here and you want it to snap every inch. That's a lot of snaps. Of course, that's not bad if you don't want to end up having a house that's 8 foot 4 and 13/16. Oh my God. if you want it to work out to an even inch, I don't like to have half inches, but because our studs are 3.5 and 5.5 inches wide, I have no other choice. So, we might change that snap to half an inch so I don't end up with 1/8 and 1/16 on it. So when we start really going into the beginning stages of design work, we're going to set this up at 48 inches or 4 feet. Notice that when I type this in, I did not say inches. Okay, I didn't want that to happen. I wanted to, where would I? There. Okay, if I type in feet, I have to put the foot mark there. Okay, and I hit tab. Notice that it changes it to feet, but I can also say 24 inches and it's going to convert it for me. Inches is the default. I don't have to say that it's inches. It will take that as default. So you will see me a lot of times I'll just type in 48 because I know that it is 4 feet and I know that it is default. So I don't have to move my hand a second time when I put in 4 feet. If I just type in 48, I can do it in a quicker motion and it saves time on that. So let me show you what happens with that. So now we are on, we've got the snap to drawing grid, turn that on. Why is it not stamping to it? Snap is on. Did I do something wrong here? Snap on snap 48 equal spaces, grid snap, polar snap, grid spacing. 48 on that as well. Why is it not stamping? I've got object snap open. Okay, so couldn't take. Oh, I know why. Maybe no. I thought maybe I was too far out, but no. I'm confused now all of a sudden. I will figure that out and get back to you on that. I don't know why it's not snapped. It should snap every 48 inches. I mean, it should just jump, from here, boom to there, to boom to there, to boom to there. And it's not doing it. Let me make sure I know. Oh, hell, I'm way far out. There we go. That was the reason. That's too daggum far out. All right, see how it jumps? And that's 48. It jumps every 48 inches. Oh, it only does it when I'm in a drawing mode. Okay, so there it is. So why is 48 important? Well, 48 is important because this is the size of plywood, 4 feet by 8 feet. So if I were to design a house, 4 feet grids, then I know that my plywood is not going to be wasted. I'm not going to have a third of a sheet left, or I have to cut and put on 4 inches. I don't want to do that. So that is what the grid is kind of used for. Always you remember that you can pause this video and you can take a break anytime you want to. Okay, so let's talk about a couple other things right quick before we get too far, so that we can get your blank set up completely. So let's open up the layer properties and get those set up. All of these will be default. Notice that 0 here, it says over here, default layer, do not use. So let's not use that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down through here and we're going to change some of these. so that so everybody's aligns correctly. I don't like using blue for things that are obviously need to be seen, such as doors. So if you click on the blue here, then I want you to click yellow. On the electrical, I want you to click on the color, change it to green. For the plumbing, you can leave it as white. For A walls, you can leave it as white. For the A windows, let's click on magenta, that color, I can't think of what, magenta, sorry, magenta. Depth points. Notice that depth points, the plot is turned off here. So the depth points is a layer that we can use to put lines in there for reference points for us as drawers, but it will not print. Okay, these are our guidelines. So I don't like using white because the walls are usually white. So what I do is I go up here and I hit orange, index color 30. Okay, notice right here, you'll see the index color 30. All right, so it gives me orange. I don't use anything else in orange. So that way that sticks out real good for me. Dimensions. So for any dimensions, text, and so forth, let's go with the color cyan. So let's drop down here to text here and do the same thing for that, cyan. All right. Elevations can stay white. No print, and I don't even, let's just get rid of that because the depth points are also no print. So highlight this, go up here and hit the X, and it'll take it away. Reference, we can leave it green. Section, title block, viewpoints, viewports, all of that can stay the same. So I want to add a couple with you. And so we're going to go up here to the little star, and that is a new one. All right, so it's going to pop in there and say layer. And I want you to call it appliance. I cannot spell for the life of me. Appliance. And let's make it, make sure you hit enter on that. And let's make it magenta. Okay, we're going to add another one. And that is going to be called bat. Okay, so that's your insulation. Okay, go over here to the color and make that blue. Remember I said I don't like using a whole lot of blues. I don't want the bats to stick out quite so much. Over here in the continuous, I want you to click on that. You'll have this pop up, but notice there's not a whole lot of line types that are there. So let's go load some up, and let's go down to the hidden. Okay, there's the bat. So we want to click on that. And while we're here, let's go ahead and click on center ×2. I'm going to hold my control button and click on that one as well. See that because I hit control, if I don't hit control, it goes away. So I'm going to click on batting. I'm going to push control, and I'm going to click center ×2 rather. Looking at my records here, center, and we need hidden. Oh, we need dot, and we need hidden ×2 for right now. Let me make sure got everything. Yes, okay. So we're going to hit those, and this is bat. So I want to make sure that my bat is highlighted here so that it puts that in as bat. And then I want to go over here to line weight under bat, and I want to put 0. Okay. Again, the bat line can be very confusing, not confusing, but very, well, it's just a bunch of lines. Dead learning, I can't get the right line name out. It's just very busy. So we want to kind of tone it down a little bit. Go back and add another one called beam. And we're going to associate the color of yellow. And the type of the line type is going to be center times 2. Okay, we're going to hit another new, and we're going to call it deck. Give it the color green. New. Electrical. Give it the color green. Hide. 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 We're going to give it the color of magenta. And the line type is going to be hidden. New layer. Girder. Enter. It is magenta, and the line type is center. Next one is ground or earth, whatever you wish to call it. The color is going to be red. This is the only red that we use, other than sometimes we'll do some lettering in red to make sure that it pops out and is seen very good. And the last one is going to be ridge. And it is white. And it is center. Yeah, right. So it's this. So I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to reopen it. And notice that it puts it in alphabetical order. All right, I could just hit that right there, and it'll put it in alphabetical order as well. So try, if stop the video, pause the video, and again, you can either print screen and paste it into Paint to go back and get these settings the way that I have them here. That way, everybody's on the same page. Okay, we're going to close that. And at this point, I want you to save it. Okay, because that is your blank. You're going to come back to this every time, and hopefully everything will be perfect. I'm going to turn this coordinates off and save again because I don't want those coordinates on there. Okay. Now we have our blank. So you're going to open up your blank when you begin every single drawing. Okay. All new drawings are going to start with your blank. Once you open up your blank and you begin a new drawing, I want you to go to Save As, and I want you to change that name because you don't want to mess up your blank. All right. So in this one here, I want you to just type in the word play, because we're going to play a little bit. All right. Kind of go over some of these different drawing and just all of these little crazy things up here to kind of get you to understand how things work. Okay. So I'm going to click online. No, I'm not. I'm going to press the letter L. See what happens? That pops open. It goes to line. So I can do that, and I'm ready to go. So I can, start with my first point anywhere I want to. If I want to put it at 45, if I want to put it at 0, if I want it to be 20 foot long, I'm going to type that in. Okay, so now it's 20 foot long and 10 foot wide. And then watch this. Okay, so remember we talked a little bit about the on snaps though, and I've got a parent intersection right there, or extension, one of the two words. So if I click on that line right there, I mean not click on that line, but just hover over it the first time, it gives me that parallel. Okay, it shows me, see that little green crosshairs up there? And when I get lined up with it, it will say, oh, it's parallel with that. So I'm just going to pull back down, square, and then I can close. And it's that easy. It's really, really that easy. A polyline. So a polyline is like a continuous line. All right. So I can, well, let me explain to you. Okay. So, well, I did a box here. So I did a box. These are all single lines. Okay. Now let's go to polyline and do the same thing. All right. So I'm going to go 20 feet, 10 feet, and close it. Okay. Notice down here it says close. Watch what happens when I hit close. Boom. Goes right back to that. Now, on this one here, we use just regular line. We have 4 individual lines. Okay. This is polyline. Bam. I've got one continuous line. So if I do, if I go through here with just line, I have a bunch of individual lines. But if I go with a polyline and do pretty much the same thing, I'm going to end up with one single line. Okay. Now, what's the importance of that? So let's say, for instance, I want to, I'm drawing a house and I want to put the walls in. Okay. I'm going to skip forward now. I want to start here in the draw, but I'm going to skip forward and I'm going to run over to the modify and I'm going to hit this little thing here. It's called offset. I'm going to click on that. And if you'll notice down here, the word through is default, meaning, and you'll see that in these brackets here, that is the default, meaning that nothing has been set. The distance has not been set. So we have to set that. And walls are, let's just go with a 3.5 inch stud. So I'm going to type in 3.5. Remember, I don't have to put inches in because inches is default. All right. So I go up to my little house here and I'm going to offset this wall. Notice that I have to do it a couple of times and notice how they cross here. But if I go over to my polyline and I offset that, it cleans it up for me. All right. So this is not clean because they overlap. I would have to go through here and trim all of these. Oops, sorry. Okay. I would have to go through here and trim all of those. Where here, they're already trimmed for me. But maybe maybe this wall here is going to be a 5.5 inch wall, a 2x6 stud, while the rest of these are going to be 2x4 studs. I only want to move this wall here rather than move all of the other walls. So one thing that I can do is I can explode. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to hit explode. Boom. Now, this is no longer a polyline. It is now just an individual line. I can highlight that, grab the center node, move in the direction that I want to go, and then type in 2 for 2 inches. And now I just went from a 3.5 inch wall to a 5.5 inch wall. And then I can trim this extra little place here down and it looks good. Okay. Well, because it's a polyline, let me make sure. Yep. Because it's a polyline, I can manipulate that by this center node as well. So I click on the center node, I move it in the direction that I want. Again, I press 2, enter. It moved it for me and I don't have to clean up nothing. Okay. So that gives you an idea of line and polyline. Circle. Also notice, when you hover over this for a longer period of time, it will first tell you, hey, if you want more information, press F1. Okay. And it's going to open up the the references, the quick references, and tell you more about the circle. Now, if I leave it hovered over for a little bit, notice that it expands and gives me more information around it. Creates a circle using a center point and a radius. Your first click is going to be the center. The second click is going to be the radius. So let's play with that. Let's open that up. And I'm going to find the center. I'm going to click on that. And if I wanted to, I could, I could click in the center. I could, set on that point right there. And I can, make all these circles. So notice that after I put this, I put the center point in, it asks me to specify the radius of the circle. Or if you hit drop down, it will give you it. Now I just hit the down arrow on my keyboard. Okay, so it's currently the radius is at 10 feet 10 3/4 of an inch. Or if I want to, I can give the diameter. So I'm going to arrow down on that, hit enter. And now I can give the radius of it. So the whole thing, let's say I want it to be 20 feet. Bam, it is now 20 feet. How do I know? I can click on this, go over to my properties, and I guess I messed up, didn't I? All right, so how am I going to fix that? I can go over here, I can grab that, and I can move by typing in 1 inch, and it's going to disappear. Why did that happen? I don't know. Let's just do it another way. So I'm going to go over here to, I know what it was because I was using the wrong number. So I can go over here and I can highlight diameter, and I'm going to type in 20 feet, hit enter, and now it changes and it is 20 feet. It's that simple. This also gives me the area and the circumference. Notice that you have several different types of ways to put in the center. And that, of course, is the default one by the radius. You can do 2 points. Let's do 2 points. All right. So let's say that I want a circle equal to the width of my box. Okay. So my first point is going to be here. My second point is going to be there. Now I have a perfect circle in that box. Let's go down and look at 3 point. So I want to do the same thing, but this time I want it to hit here, here, and there. Okay, so I can go 3 point. Even though 3 point is shown here, if I hit enter, notice that it goes back to the standard that we had before. Remember the center and the radius. That's the only drawback that I see on that. It's, if I want to do a multitude of 3 point lines, I'm going to have to go back up here and click 3 points every time. Tangent, tangent, radius, tangent, tangent, tangent. So tangent, tangent, tangent. That way it gives me a perfect circle inside of that and touching all 3 walls. The rectangle or the polygon. Rectangle, I've kind of showed you this a little bit, or did I? No, I didn't. I don't remember. Anyway, so I want to click, and I always give a corner, and I can go any way that I want to, and it's going to stay on that one corner. And I want to do a box that's 20 feet by 10 feet. Okay. And there's my box. Notice I didn't put in the negative number. Let me go back and show you that again. Okay, first click, and I'm going to go 20 feet. I'm going to tab, and I should have punched in negative 10 feet. That way it's down here below the way that I want it to be. Polygon. Polygon is a little different animal here. So how many sides do I want? Obviously, the first thing it's going to ask is, how many sides do you want? I want 20. Okay, so I'm going to type in 20, and I'm going to hit enter, and then it's going to ask me for the center of that dadgum thing. All right, so I'm going to go up here real close to this, and notice that when I go close to this circle, I can go to this circle. All right, or I can go to that circle. It highlights my center of that circle, and I want that. So I'm going to click on that. Now it's going to ask you inscribe in a circle or circumscribed about a circle. In other words, do you want it inside a circle or do you want it outside a circle? Okay. For this one, I'm going to go inside a circle. All right. So now it's asking me, where do you want this to go? All right. So I'm going to just pull it out there. I can go further if I want to, but I just want to show you what it just asking. So that is inside the circle. Now I'm going to go back. I'm going to do the same thing again. I have 20 sides. Remember that I hit enter to go back to the very same command. I'm going to hover over that circle so that I find that center point again. But this time I'm going to go around the outside of the circle. I'm going to use the same point that I used a minute ago, and bam. Notice that, this one is inside the circle. This one is outside the circle. And that's just very simply what that means. The next one is the ellipse or oval. Okay. Notice that it's telling you to put the center point in first, then one axis, and then another axis. So that's pretty simple. Okay. So I found my center point. I want to give it 20 feet. All right. And I'm going to hit enter. And then it's asking me for the other one, and I want to put in 10 feet. Bam. There I got an ellipse that is 20 by 10. I can do other types of ellipticals as well with different commands. The hatch mode is, so I'm going to click on hatch, and notice that it changes the screen here. And I have a whole bunch of different types of hatches that I got going on here. And I'm just going to hit architectural concrete, and I'm going to click inside of something. And there is my concrete, but it's not scaled right for some reason. So I'm going to just click over here, and I'm going to hit scale of 20. Still needs to be bigger. Let's go at scale of 50. Let's go bigger, 100. Well, maybe I'm going too big. Let's go 10. This is not the same concrete that I'm accustomed to in some of my other drawings. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is my go-to sheet, and you should also make you up one as well. You can call it play, you can call it windows and doors. Whatever you want. I created this thing so long ago, I don't even remember half the stuff that's on here. So let me show you what the concrete looks like on here. Well, let me just start with a small circle, and or a small rectangle. I'm gonna do the same thing, 20 feet and 10 feet. And then I'm going to hit the hatch, and I'm going to go down, and I'm going to hit architectural concrete. I'm going to click in there. Now, watch, see how that looks? That's what concrete's supposed to look like. I'll have to figure out why this concrete looks like that. I don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, you can do boundaries, you can do graduals, you can do color designs. And if when you're in here, you can drop down here and just do just a ton of different stuff. Now, I have loaded some extra stuff on here. Now, wait a minute. Why is it showing it there? It's showing the old country and all these new ones in there, but the concrete is messed up. That makes absolutely no sense to me. I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I'll play with it and figure out. But so, like say gravel, and Jesus Pete. So that gravel is just way too loud, and I can change that to, let's say 20. No. 50. Why is this doing this? I don't understand. I'll have to play with this and get back to you to figure out this. So if you drop down this little, each one of these has a drop down, and you can drop down off of this, and it gives you even more stuff. A spline is, you know, you can do all kinds of crazy things with the spline, and it will give you this stuff. So I'm going to pause this just for a minute. So, you know, like the spline, you know, we can manipulate it using different types of nodes as well. And you'll notice we got this funky little downside right here. So what it is it's a drop down menu. Okay, so if we need to, we can get it to fit, or we have control vertices in order to move it. Okay, so the next one that I use quite religiously is the construction line. All right, so in the construction line, when you click on that, you get something here. But if you look down here at the bottom, it says specify a point or horizontal, vertical, align, angled, bisect, or offset. All right. So if you right click after clicking that, okay, so click that and then right click, you'll see that you have a whole bunch of stuff come up here. All right. So I can set a horizontal line. Okay. And this line goes for freaking ever. Okay. So I can use that to, done something now. Let me get rid of that. I've got to figure out, right there it is. So if I highlight it, I can find out where my center point was and I get back to it. Sorry. Okay, so like I say, that line goes forever. If I need another one, vertical, then I can put that in here as well. And you know, I can set that up. Okay, so like I say, these are kind of important lines. Now, on my top up here, you'll see that I've got a lot of important stuff here. So let's talk about that real quick and how to set that up the way you want it to. Notice when you get over here to the trim, you have a drop down menu, trim and extend. So let me explain to you trim and extend. So I'm gonna take a line here and I'm gonna go just across that little thing there. Now, if I click on trim, then if I go down here and hit that, see how it goes away? Or I can trim that out. If I click on, if I click on extend and I hover over the line, I can extend it. And now you got to remember, here's the center line. So if I'm over here, it's going to extend over here. And if I'm over here, it's going to extend over there. And I can just keep going and going and going until there's nothing else in my screen that will align with that line. So there. All right. But now, so instead of going up here and clicking the two of them, there's a couple of things you can do. You can leave it as trim. And so you can go down through here and trim all the lines all you want to. But if you notice what it's red right there, select object to trim or shift select to extend. So I can push the shift button and I can get it to extend, let go of the shift button, and it trims. Okay. The one other thing that I do is I go up here and I put this up here. This is the extend button. So I want a couple other things like continued dimensioning, and I'll explain that later, splines, print, the construction line. So what I want to do is I want to hit this little drop down menu here, and you can see that there are several that's already on here that you could add if you feel necessary to. All right, or you come down here to more commands, and that's how you don't see the continued, you don't see the spline, you don't see the extend on there, and you don't see construction line. So you have to go into more commands, and you can either rotate down through here and find what you need, or you can type it in. So I want extend, extend. I don't know if it's going to show me or not. And it helps to be able to spell the darn thing. There we go, extend. So there it is. So if I want that up here, I'm going to grab that and I'm going to paste it up here. See how it goes from, nope, you can't put it here to, yep, you can put it here. All right. So I can do that. All right. And that's what I've done. I went through here and I've looked up spline. I've looked up dimension continue. I've looked up construction line and I've looked up extend and pulled them up into it. Again, if other than these three here, if yours does not look like this, try to at least get these common ones on here: new, open, save, save as, print, undo, and redo. Make sure that those are on there. Okay. So that is, in a sense, draw. A lot of this stuff you probably won't use, but you could go ahead and play with these if you want to. For instance, let's talk about the cloud. Let's say that I want to. I've got a note on here, and I want to make sure that and here, oh, sorry. One thing to note, all of your typing should be in capital letters. So hit your cap locks. I am Eric. All right, so there it is. And then if I want to make sure that people know this, then I can put it in a cloud. And then when it's on the, when it's something odd, so when you look at the plan, it brings note and attention to this so that you have it. So what I want you to do, I want you to pause or stop, because I'm going to stop the video at this point. And I want you to play with the draw, just draw a bunch of stuff. Okay, that's all I want you to do, is just draw some stuff. Play with a little bit. And then I'm going to do another video on modify, annotation, layers, blocks probably on down the line, not quite yet, and match properties and measure. So what I want to do is I'm going to stop right here and let you guys just kind of play with some stuff. If you want to play with some of the modify stuff, knock yourself out, have fun with it. You can hover over it and it will tell you what you need to do. Okay. So you can also play with that. Okay, guys. Thank you. And, come back to this, pause it, do it again and again and again until you feel comfortable with doing it. Okay. Thank you.